Welcome to The Explainer. Look, today we are tackling something that impacts, well, literally every single one of us. Our screen time. I mean, if you've ever felt like your phone is somehow running your life rather than the other way around, you are in the exact right place. We're going to break down the actual science of why this happens and then give you a highly actionable, structured blueprint to take back your time and your mind. Let's jump right into it.
So be completely honest with yourself for a second here. How many times did you open an app today? Have you ever opened an app, closed it out of sheer boredom, and then immediately reopened it 3 seconds later without even realizing you did it? Honestly, you've probably lost count. It's become this completely mindless reflex for so many of us. But as we're about to see, this seemingly harmless little habit, it actually has some pretty staggering consequences.
68. Yeah, as in 68 full days a year. To put that into perspective, the average person right now spends roughly 2.5 to 4.5 hours every single day just staring at a glowing glass rectangle. When you actually add that up, it equates to about 60 to 70 days. That is over 2 full months of your waking life spent scrolling every single year. But listen, this isn't just about lost time. It is actively altering your brain chemistry. Okay, let's dive into this, because the very first thing you need to understand, and this is absolutely crucial, is that it's not your fault. Your lack of willpower is actually by design. If you feel like you literally can't put your phone down, it's not because you're lazy or lack self-control. No way. These platforms were meticulously engineered by brilliant behavioral psychologists using incredibly sophisticated mechanics just to trap your attention for as long as possible. So that guilt you're feeling, you can go ahead and let that go right now. So how exactly do they trap us? Well, we have to look at a concept called variable rewards. It's a psychological engine where rewards are delivered completely unpredictably, and that is exactly what drives compulsive behavior. Every single time you get a like, a comment, or a ping, your brain releases this quick surge of dopamine. Your brain craves that next hit, but because you never know exactly when the next exciting thing is going to pop up, you just keep scrolling. And this brilliantly illustrates what's really going on. When you pull down to refresh your social feed, your brain is doing the exact same thing as someone pulling the lever on a casino slot machine. Think about it. If a slot machine paid out $10 every single time, you'd get bored incredibly fast. But because you might win big, or you might get absolutely nothing, you're hooked. Will your feed show a hilarious video, a message from a friend, or just boring noise? That total uncertainty is what keeps you pulling the lever over and over and over again. Now, because you're constantly flooding your brain with these cheap, quick bursts of dopamine, something really unfortunate happens when you finally do put the phone down. Your brain hits a dopamine deficit state. Basically, it's downregulated its dopamine receptors because it is just so used to that constant artificial high. So suddenly, your baseline mood just drops. Sitting in a quiet room, it feels totally intolerable, restless, and empty. And to escape that deeply uncomfortable feeling, what do? You reach right back for the screen. It's a classic loop. But hey, this dopamine loop doesn't just mess with your head. It takes a serious physical toll on our bodies too. First up, staring at screens before bed blasts your eyes with bright blue light, which entirely suppresses melatonin, the hormone you actually need to fall asleep. Not only that, but the psychological stimulation of all that drama and news fires up your nervous system. Studies actually show that for every extra hour of late-night scrolling, you are losing 15 to 25 minutes of restorative, deep sleep. And because you're constantly wired, your baseline cortisol, your stress hormone, remains chronically elevated. And the physical strain certainly doesn't stop at sleep and stress. 22 kilograms. That is the amount of pressure you are placing on your spine when you tilt your head forward 45 degrees to stare down at your phone for hours on end. There's actually a medical nickname for this now: tech neck. Over time, this leads to chronic neck pain, headaches, and just immense muscular strain. You add in dry eyes and blurred vision, and it becomes pretty clear our bodies were simply not built to consume content this way. So the crucial point is how this physical toll is heavily compounded by the mental toll. I mean, we all know the cliche, right? Social media is a highlight reel, not reality. But the thing is, your brain wasn't built to process the curated, perfect lives of thousands of strangers every single day. We see the luxury vacations, the perfect bodies, the unbelievable success stories, and our brains start subconsciously comparing our everyday messy reality to their heavily filtered highlights. This triggers massive waves of social comparison, anxiety, and this nagging feeling that everyone else is just happier than you are. But listen, the good news here is we actually have hard data on how to reverse this. A massive study out of the University of Pennsylvania found a direct causal link showing that limiting social media use to just 30 minutes a day significantly reduces depression and loneliness after just 3 weeks. And notice I said causal effect, not just a correlation. The less time participants spent scrolling, the measurably, noticeably better they felt. And reducing that screen time doesn't just help your mood, it literally rescues your attention span. If you've been feeling lately like you can't even read a book or watch a full movie without checking your phone, that is intentional. Constant exposure to endless 15-second videos actually trains your brain to expect a brand new stimulus every 10 seconds. This creates what psychologists call attention residue, which is basically mental baggage you carry from one rapid-fire video to the next. It completely destroys your capacity for deep work and makes it nearly impossible to focus on anything meaningful. Seriously, if you're finding it hard to get through this explainer without checking your notifications, this is exactly why. So why don't we just quit cold turkey, right? Why do those drastic digital detoxes so often fail after like 3 days? Well, because willpower alone is basically useless when you're up against billion-dollar algorithms. As the saying goes, we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. You absolutely cannot rely on sheer grit. To truly reclaim your attention, you have to redesign your environment. You have to make mindless access difficult. Which brings us right to the solution. We aren't going to tell you to throw your phone in the ocean or completely delete your digital presence. The goal here is to move from being a mindless consumer to an intentional user. We're going to build structural fences around your attention using this really simple 4-step blueprint. Grayscale mode, eliminating friction-free access, creating sanctuaries, and replacing the habit. Let's break down each step so you can literally apply it today. All right, step 1. It is incredibly simple yet wildly effective. Make your phone visually unappealing by turning on grayscale mode in your accessibility settings. App developers literally spend millions testing vibrant color palettes just to trigger those dopamine spikes we talked about earlier. By stripping the color and turning your screen totally black and white, you instantly transform a hyper-stimulating Vegas casino into a dull, boring old newspaper. That addictive thrill? It's immediately reduced. Step 2 is all about environment design. Eliminate friction-free access. First things first, nuke all non-essential, non-human notifications. If it's not a direct message or a call from a real, actual person, turn it off. App notifications are literally just unsolicited advertisements for your attention. Second, get those addictive apps off your home screen. Force yourself to swipe and physically type the app name into the search bar every single time you want to use it. That adds a tiny 3-second friction barrier. And honestly, that is just enough time for your conscious brain to wake up and ask, wait, do I actually want to open this right now? Moving on to step 3, establish device-free sanctuaries. You need hard boundaries where your phone physically cannot exist. The absolute most important one, the bedroom. Go buy a cheap, dumb analog alarm clock and charge your phone in the kitchen or completely across the room. And even more importantly, guard the first 30 minutes of your day ruthlessly. Do not let some random algorithm developer in Silicon Valley dictate your mood or stress levels before you've even had a chance to get out of bed and brush your teeth. These device-free zones give you these essential daily victories of presence. And finally, step 4. This is crucial because it addresses raw human nature. Replace the habit. You can't just rip a behavior out of your life and leave a vacuum. Your brain will absolutely freak out. You have to fill that void. When you feel that itch to scroll because you're bored or stressed, you gotta swap it out with high-friction, high-reward activities. Build a physical list of 5-minute alternatives. Read a chapter of a real physical book. Drop and do 20 push-ups. Step outside for a quick walk. Or, crazy idea, actually call a friend directly. Your brain still gets a reward, but it gets it in a healthy, deeply fulfilling way. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want this to sink in. Your attention is arguably one of your most valuable resources. Every single minute you spend mindlessly scrolling is a minute you could have spent learning something new, exercising, creating, or making actual real-world memories with the people you care about. Trillion-dollar industries are fighting tooth and nail for your eyeballs every single second of the day. Reclaiming your mind isn't just going to happen by accident. It requires the intentional design we just walked through. So I want to leave you with a bit of a challenge. If you switch your phone to grayscale for just 24 hours, what are you going to do with all that reclaimed time? I challenge you to try just that one trick today. Your phone will still be there, but your attention, that is entirely yours to take back. Take note of how your brain responds and go do something that actually makes you feel alive. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this blueprint helps you step right back into the driver's seat of your life.